Hey guys, I hope you're having an amazing time at this men's retreat. And obviously, a little bit bummed I can't be there, but that's all good. I wanted to tell you a little bit about the making of the video "Trusting God's Story," because there's a couple of like really cool pieces that if you don't know the backstory, you'll just think you won't know how it ended up there, and you won't know any of the cool kind of related stuff. Um, so first important thing is I'd been asking Arvin, or that's an exaggeration, but I'd at least told him about Bema a couple of times, and he'd always been like, yeah, whatever, never bothered. And then finally, not long before this retreat, he went ahead and watched it with me, and of course, he was like, "Whoa, this is so cool," and kind of opened his mind up to that. Then he reached out to me, maybe a week and a half ago or so, and was like, "Hey, would you like to do a section or like a section for a presentation or something like that for the men's retreat?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." And I told him, of course, I couldn't come, so I would have to be remote. And so I put it together, and he let me choose whatever I wanted to choose. And so, of course, I'm really at this point in my life following this thread that God's teaching me about storytelling, the power of storytelling, and just kind of venturing into that world. It's a brand new world for me. And so kind of learning about production and about thinking about storytelling and the power of story and all this stuff. And then, of course, at a higher level, like what is God's story and being invited into it and all that. So telling the story of God's story would not have, or being invited into God's story would not be very powerful if it hadn't been for you guys listening to Bema. You wouldn't listen to Bema if it hadn't been for Arvin, and Arvin wouldn't have done it if he hadn't come to my house over Thanksgiving and sat down, finally got still enough to sit down and listen to that with me. So then, in putting together the video, pretty cool. Obviously, using The Chosen as my background, the visuals behind it. But before I knew I was going to use The Chosen or anything about which episode or any of that, I wrote the script. So I basically flipped open my computer earlier this week and flipped open my laptop and just kind of wrote the script of what came to me all in like one quick sitting, honestly. It didn't take terribly long to write it because it was something that was on my heart. So I wrote the script, and then I recorded the voice, and then I went to pick out, all right, now I'm going to put it into video form. And then I was kind of brought to mind the episode that I ended up using, which was about the kids and Jesus, that interaction. And it's crazy amazing how like different parts of it, like the music that I grabbed to underline it and the video itself, like I didn't have time to like line things up or whatever. I just kind of like put them in and grabbed certain parts like of interactions I thought would be good. And as I went back and watched it, there was just like these moments where it was like what I was talking about that I recorded before I knew which video I was going to use line up perfectly. And then, of course, I think it's really neat that God put this impression on my heart to use I believe that was episode 3, because it's about kids. And of course, I love that. I love the phrase where Jesus says you have to become like a child to even be able to enter this kingdom. So there's something really special about the way children, with their simplicity and their trusting hearts and their openness to a good story, to the good story, and how that all played together. Um, and the only things I knew, there was a couple of quotes that I wanted Jesus to put in there, well, the actor playing Jesus, to put in there after I listened to it, after, again, I had done all my recording work, and I just pulled a couple of those out for you guys to hear. So, yeah, the whole thing just came together like I had imagined the whole thing from the beginning, and I totally didn't. I sort of discovered along the way. So in a really weird, cool way, God was writing the story for this story that I got to put together to tell you guys to trust the story. He kind of wrote the whole thing, and all I was sort of doing was following the breadcrumbs, and Arvin was following the breadcrumbs. So I just want you to know that all of that sort of behind the scenes to hopefully make you guys know this was obviously God was very intentional about showing up and meeting you guys, and I hope you guys got a lot out of it. So thanks, guys.